Be humble, not desperate. No matter how talented, a diva can always be replaced. So be humble. Now, what do I mean by this? Okay, I'm gonna give some examples. I'm gonna try to explain. On the side of being humble, we wanna do things like continue auditioning. Auditioning is part of an actor's life. This is part of our life. And I've met some actors who maybe after some years or they've networked a lot in the community that they're in or in the industry, town that they're in, don't ever get so comfortable that you rely on just getting called for roles or having your agent do all the work. Keep auditioning. Keep looking for work. Auditioning is part of our lives as actors, so we might as well embrace it. And if ever you get to a point where you feel, I've actually heard some actors say this, I don't do auditions anymore. That's not really humble. I recommend you just keep auditioning. Give all parts, even the small parts, your full focus. Now you've heard that saying, there are no small parts, only small actors. You might have heard that. It's an old saying in the industry. I think there's truth to it for sure. Because even if the part is what you consider small, every bit of work that you do is a chance to be seen. And you never know who's going to see that clip of work. Now, they're not going to know that you are having an off day or that you were looking down on the role. Or they're going to think, is this person's not that good an actor or this person's mediocre? And you might be better than that, but they won't know because you decided that the role wasn't big enough to get your full attention. So beside doing it for how you'll be seen and for the potential of getting more work, you should respect every role just on principle. It's a job. What we do, I think of it as more than a job. I think of it, like a calling or whatever, a passion. It's important and it's a team effort. It's a collaborative effort. So if you're looking at your part of the job as too small to give it all your energy, you're letting down everyone else that's involved. So it's important that you treat every role, no matter how small you think it is, as a chance to shine, as being important, and a chance to support everyone else so that everything stays as one well-oiled machine. Take direction and adapt. Sometimes actors are not used to adapting the way that they perform a scene or a line or a role. It's important to trust the director enough to take their direction. You don't have to like the director, but again, this is a profession here. It shouldn't be a personal thing. If a director has a vision and they've asked you to adapt the way you did a certain part, the humble thing to do would be to take the direction and adapt it and not assume that your way is the best way or the only way. Again, it's collaborative. Don't direct fellow actors. When I see this, it just baffles me. There's one director. I've been on sets where people are just, I don't know where it comes from. They just, no, say it like this. Like they'll give line readings. Don't direct other actors. Focus on your own work. There's one director on the set, usually one, maybe two, but you're not the director. So focus on your own work and don't direct others. That's not humble at all. Acknowledge the crew. I've witnessed times when the crew may be overlooked in a way. For example, something like a simple greeting. Good morning, how are you? Eye contact. Everybody's human and we're all part of the team and we're all making this film together. We're all putting this play on, this production together. So just because someone's not acting doesn't mean that their work is any less important. I mean, if you get rid of the crew, then what do you have? You might as well, I guess, maybe go stand on the street corner and act. You get the point. Acknowledge the crew. They are part of the team, equally as important as every actor, every musician, every model, equally as important. For lower budget productions, be flexible and help out by providing the use of your shoes as part of the costume, or even some of your own clothing as part of the costume, because it's a low budget production and that's being a team player. That's being helpful, giving a hand, and it can get really expensive, especially for the independent producers, to get clothing, accessories, shoes for every single character. So, I mean, we have to start, we all have to start somewhere. Give a helping hand. Maybe allow the use of some of your shoes or some of your accessories, maybe even some of your clothing for the low budget productions that you work on. Be available for last minute casting if you are able. Now, ideally, it would be best if we had some days or some weeks notice before the actual day of the shoot. But emergencies come up. Sometimes there are no shows. Sometimes people bail out. Things happen. Unexpected things happen. So if you are asked to come and fill in with 1 day's notice, the night before, come in the morning and shoot. I mean, it's not the end of the world. And you're not required to do it, of course, but just be flexible, be understanding. And if you're able, why not go and fill in? And you're basically bailing someone out of a tight situation. You're helping the producer out, the PM out, the director out. And that will be remembered. That will help to build relationships. It'll help to build a trust. And you'll be remembered for that. You could get other work because you were there when they were in need. So be flexible. It's not the end of the world if you're casting something that's shooting the next morning or a few hours later. If you can do it, why not? Go for it. Do a few pro bono jobs just to build your resume, to build your CV and your credits. Pro bono meaning free, no pay. I know this is a really touchy and controversial, issue, working without being paid. A lot of people believe that since there's so many of us and so many of us want to make it, so many of us want to be seen, that should be exploited and that we should work without being paid. No, I don't agree with that. However, if you're starting out and you don't have enough footage for a reel yet, or you don't have a lot of video of yourself acting, enough acting clips, then you might want to check in with student filmmakers. Look for auditions at film schools and also low budget producers, independent producers, and do some jobs without being paid. Especially if it's a role that you can show off your skills, a role that will show off your abilities. That's actually a help to you. You're not being taken advantage of at that stage. All things should be in moderation. There should be balance. For example, there are some actors who may go on for years doing one free shoot after another without pay, another pro bono, and their resumes are pretty full. And it just becomes a bad habit. That's not what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting that to build your credits, to build your reels, and to get footage of yourself acting, do a few pro bono jobs. And that's usually among the independent producers, among the student producers, and the film school productions. So there's nothing wrong with that. This is part of being humble, being a team player, and being flexible. And believe it or not, being likable is just as important as being a good actor. I can't even count how many examples there are of people who are very talented that you might think would be in a role, whereas someone less talented might have gotten the role because that person's very likable, very personable, very humble. And I'm not saying a doormat. I mean just being personable and easy to work with, easygoing, understanding. This goes a long way, just as long a way as actual talent goes, which is hard to believe. It's not only about talent. And yes, this is what I've learned in my experience. Research the company or the casting person before you go to an audition for any company or brand that you've never heard of. Ask your colleagues, ask other actors, have you heard of this production company or this production house? Have you heard of this producer? Have you heard of this director? Google them, check them out on LinkedIn, research them. There are people who are not professional who are in our industry. It's not as regulated as other professions. So we will run into charlatans and people who are fake. It's also a security risk. Do your research. Don't be in such a rush to get the role. Don't be too excited. Look into the person that's hiring you because they're looking into you as well. So that's what I mean by not being too desperate in that regard. Agree on the pay first, in writing if possible, even if it's a text message, something that's recorded, something that can be shown as proof. If there's any misunderstanding or dispute later on, have a clear written understanding, whether it's a contract, whether it's on paper, PDF, SMS message, WhatsApp message. something written where there's an understanding of what you'll be compensated for your time and for your work. This is very important because as the weeks go by or the days go by, both parties, one party or the other, may forget the details. So agree on the pay, agree on the compensation, and get it in writing. Ask if there will be meals and water. Juice and other beverages would be nice, but they're not important. Water is important. And unfortunately, I've been on sets where there wasn't enough water to drink, and it was not pleasant at all. Don't be too ashamed or embarrassed or too shy to ask, will there be refreshments? Will there be, will there be meals? Will there be water? Will there be snacks? It's okay to ask, especially if you're going to be on set or rehearsing for a full day, 8 hours or more. Confirm safe transportation and lodging arrangements. Find out about the neighborhood. Ask questions. Research the neighborhood. Ask how you're going to get from point A to point B, depending on the project. Some projects we self-report, but some projects there's a company vehicle, a van. There's what they call in Nollywood, they call camping, where everyone stays overnight, either in a production house or hotel. Ask questions because you don't want to end up in a situation where your safety is at risk in any way. So ask questions, don't be afraid. Request a script in time to prepare for the role, especially if it's a lead role or supporting role. It's understandable if it's maybe a bit part and they don't give you a full script. That's understandable if you just get the script the day of the shoot. But if you're playing a principal role or supporting role, it's important that you get the script in time to put your skills to use and give the role your best. And the only way to do that is if you have at least a couple of days with the script, ideally a few weeks. There are reasons why production might not give everyone a full script, but don't be afraid to ask for your script in time to do your homework. Ask questions about any conditions that are going to be happening on set that might affect your health or your safety or anything that you need to know. For example, will there be any nudity? This needs to be agreed on ahead of time. Will there be any love scenes? And if there will be, there needs to be an intimacy coordinator. It needs to be choreographed. Every movement needs to be agreed on and practiced ahead of time. It's okay to ask this. Don't be afraid to ask. Will there be smoking? Will there be any fight choreography, any stage combat? And if there is, will there be a stunt coordinator? Will there be a fight choreographer? Any possible scenario that could be harmful to you as an actor or as a person, any condition or situation that could occur on set that could be potentially harmful to you in any way as a person, as an actor, you have a right to ask about it. So don't be so humble that it crosses the line into the realm of being desperate and accepting anything. Ask questions. Ask about your pay, ask about meals, ask about locations and work conditions. And that's how you avoid being desperate. And you'll be respected for it. Dignity is respectable. So be humble, not desperate.